Good day, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. So, today, in our ongoing coverage of the civil war taking place inside of the former state of Ethiopia, we continue to receive reports of a very significant fighting taking place inside of the region. Specifically, we were receiving intel that there was a major engagement, a major battle just north of Desse. And this engagement, this series of battles, ran from Hayk to this town of Bestima. And apparently, during these engagements, the Ethiopian federal forces, the Abiy loyalists, the Amhara militias, and from our understanding, a large quantity of the forces that have been engaged in this specific battle were in fact Amhara regional militia units, and the apparent end of the conflict of the battle resulted in fairly significant casualties on the part of those Amhara militia units. And this right now, from the intel that we are getting, would indicate that the Ethiopian army, the Amhara militia units, suffered a fairly significant defeat within the vicinity of Lake Hayk. And that has placed the Tigrayan Defense Forces in a position now to possibly continue and advance directly onto Desse. Now, with that being said, we also continue to hear reports that the Tigrayan Defense Forces are maneuvering both west and east of the city of both Desse and Kombolcha while they continue to press south. This is going to obviously give the Tigrayan Defense Forces the ability to shell targets within the confines of Desse if needed. And then obviously there is another issue in which the Tigrayan Defense Forces could possibly completely besiege both Kombolcha and Desse. The possibility of seeing a full-out siege of these two cities is going to be a very tough nut to crack in terms of doing that. Again, these are the two very large cities as of yet outside of the scope of seizing control of Weldia. This is by far the largest urban area that the Tigrayan Defense Forces would take control over, and you're looking at roughly close to 1 million people if you consider the two metro areas and then the urban areas around Kombolcha and Desse. It's a significant population base that is located within these two cities. So again, that also brings with it some challenges that the Tigrayan Defense Forces would not have experienced yet. So again, if you look at Kombolcha, you look at Desse, again, two very large, fairly large, densely populated urban areas. And what I'll do is I'll go north and show Weldia. And again, Weldia would be the largest urban area that the Tigrayan Defense Forces has been able to take from the Amhara region. So again, as you can see here, Weldia is a fairly large town, but it kind of pales in comparison when you look at the urban area of both Desse and Kombolcha. Again, fairly larger area. Just Desse is bigger than Weldia, as is Kombolcha itself too. So again, very significant target, and that's why I've been saying that if these two cities were to fall, it would show a new capability that the Tigrayan Defense Forces have now possess, and it would really show that this conflict could be really shaping up to be in its ending phase, possibly if the federal forces were to lose these two cities. But right now, again, very, very heavy battles taking place in the vicinity of Hayk and the town of Bistima. I hope I'm saying that right. If not, I apologize. But it would appear, again, significant casualties were taken on the part of the Amhara regional militias and remnants of Ethiopian federal military forces that were operating in the area. You have to understand that over the last 8 days leading up to the offensive, and then once the offensive was launched by the Ethiopian federal forces, they in fact met blistering resistance and suffered significant casualties. And when I mean they, the actual federal forces, the Abiy loyalist army. Now, with that being said, we're seeing more and more conscripts, more and more semi-conscripts being pressed into service into the region, within the Amhara region and other areas of Ethiopia, that again are being pressed into service, oftentimes without firearms. They're using axes, machetes, and what have you. And is that what occurred within the area of Hayk? Unsure, but we do know that significant losses uh, were incurred by the federal forces, by the Amhara militias, and that has placed the Tigrayan Defense Forces in a much better position in terms of options, right? So again, right now, it would appear that at least strategically, the Tigrayan Defense Forces are positioning themselves to possibly besiege Dese and not launch an all-out assault on Dese Kombolcha. And again, I've talked about that before. Very, very tough challenge to do this. It's something that we have not yet seen in this war, where we see intense urban fighting. Now, with that being said, is it possible we will see that in the near future? I believe so. At some point, the war may morph where we see more and more actual urban combat taking place. But right now, it would appear that Dese and Kombolcha are being set up for a possible siege by the Tigrayan Defense Forces. In other news, the Air Force of the Abiy loyalists, the Ethiopian Federal Air Force, continues to conduct operations against targets in Mekelle. They have struck for a fourth day. This time, we believe that the Tigrayan Defense Forces air defense assets located in Mekelle actually attempted to engage some of these aircraft, and it is possible that some of these aircraft, once engaged by man-portable air defense systems, could have decided to leave the area. But we're also noticing via video footage of the aircraft that are being utilized against Mekelle. These aircraft are flying at extremely high altitudes. They are not wanting to get down low and release their dumb bombs at a lower altitude, which would make them more accurate and more precise, out of fear of being engaged by these man-portable air defense systems, which the Tigrayan Defense Forces do indeed possess. But again, it would appear that more airstrikes were conducted. There is reports of more civilian casualties as these aircraft drop these 500-pound bombs and other ordnance on the very populated city of Mekelle. But again, we will continue to monitor this situation and, of course, report as we get more information. We can assume that more airstrikes will occur against Mekelle and possibly other targets in the Tigray region. But again, these are really retribution airstrikes because the situation is really going against the Abiy loyalists and the federal forces at this point. They are in a dire situation. Their back is against the wall. And when that happens, we are now seeing these retribution strikes being conducted by the Air Force of the Abiy loyalists. But again, right now, a lot of eyes are on the situation further south in Dese, as the Tigrayan Defense Forces continue its unrelenting assault with the intent of possibly besieging and or capturing these two cities, Kombolcha and Dese. And as I said before, if and when that occurs, this could change both the military equation on the ground, and it could also change the political equation as well. And we would have to assume that the regime of Abiy Ahmed may not have too many more political points left in the bank if it in fact loses Dese and Kombolcha. I would say the leadership is being actively questioned right now, and at a certain point, could we see a move by a military leader within the Ethiopian army, the federal forces, the Abiy loyalists suddenly become not Abiy loyalists and decide to launch some sort of coup d'etat and remove him from power at some point? Very possible. It happens, especially when you see a defeated army. In fact, in 1991, at the end of the very first Gulf War, the defeated army of Saddam Hussein's Iraq, units of even the Republican Guard were rumored to have rebelled, and were looking at overthrowing him because of the defeat that they suffered in against the coalition forces. Now, is that going to happen here inside of the former state of Ethiopia? That is unsure of as yet. But it is absolutely possible. We've seen it before, and there's no reason it could not happen again. But again, right now, the Tigrayan Defense Forces continue its counterattack south after the failed Abiy loyalist offensive, and look to be really gaining both momentum and advantage as we speak. I will continue to do more videos and report as we receive more information. I hope everyone has a great day.